Nokia is committed to doing business with integrity and in compliance with the highest international standards. We comply with laws wherever we do business. This applies to our employees as well as third parties. At Nokia, we define a third party as any legal entity or person with whom Nokia contracts. This includes, but is not limited to, suppliers and vendors, distributors, direct or indirect resellers, value-added partners, consultants, licensees, and others. When conducting business with or on behalf of Nokia, all Nokia third parties, including employees of third parties working on the Nokia contract, are expected to uphold the company's values and comply with laws, regulations, and the Nokia third-party code of conduct. Nokia's third-party code of conduct sets out our expectations on legal and regulatory compliance, ethical business practices, environmental and social regulations, and reporting issues and concerns. We will share with you Nokia's reporting channels, which can be accessed by external partners and third parties to report issues and concerns. The same expectations apply to any sub-third parties that our direct third parties contract with relating to Nokia business. There may be instances where our third parties may be asked to desist or cease to work with any sub-third party that has not been approved by Nokia or allowed under Nokia policies. One such example is commercial sales agents, where Nokia policies strictly prohibit the use of this category of third parties, which is also defined as any third party that represents or secures business or a commercial advantage for a company by conducting or leading key activities with an authority to act on company's behalf. Please refer to contractual documents for further clarity on this. Let's review legal and regulatory compliance for Nokia's third parties. Legal and regulatory compliance. Anti-corruption. We expect you to behave ethically in all business dealings and act in a transparent manner. Be aware that bribes, kickbacks, extortion, and facilitation, or grease payments, are strictly prohibited. Special rules apply to interaction with government officials. Avoid taking any actions that could be perceived as seeking an unfair business advantage, and never seek improperly to influence any action or decision. In addition, when working with sub-third parties in connection with Nokia business, take appropriate and reasonable steps to ensure they follow similar values and principles, and do not engage in improper or illegal conduct. Trade compliance. We expect our third parties to comply with all applicable trade compliance laws and regulations, to work only with and through reputable custom agents, and to ensure that all documentation pertaining to trade and customs matters is accurate and complete. Insider trading. In the course of your work with Nokia, you may become aware of important confidential or non-public information. We expect you to use Nokia's confidential or non-public information only for lawful purposes and solely for the purpose for which it was obtained. You must never trade shares based on insider information, and you must never disclose inside information to others. Fair competition and antitrust. Nokia strives to compete and win fairly and based on merit. We expect you to abide by all applicable competition and antitrust laws and regulations. Do not discuss price-sensitive or other competitively sensitive information with any competitors. Refrain from entering into any agreements that could restrict competition. Obtain information concerning competitors using only ethical means and lawful public sources. Anti-money laundering and tax evasion. We expect you to follow all applicable anti-money laundering laws, as well as laws concerning the facilitation of terrorism and tax evasion. You must take necessary steps to work only with reputable customers, including implementation of robust internal processes to ensure adherence to Know Your Customer laws and best practices, and to engage in business transactions only where the source of funds is known to be legitimate. Data privacy. Upholding the privacy and security of the personal data entrusted to us is vital to maintaining the trust of our customers, employees, partners, and others. We expect you to comply with all applicable laws and regulations while processing, transmitting, or storing personal data. Be sure to notify Nokia in the event of any improper disclosure or breach of personal or sensitive data. Intellectual property and confidential information. We expect you to respect and protect Nokia's assets, intellectual property, and confidential information. We use confidential information only for Nokia's legitimate business purposes and in line with Nokia's information security policy. Use the Nokia brand and trademark consistent with Nokia's guidelines. Always respect and protect the intellectual property and confidential information of others received for use by Nokia. Ethical business practices. Let's review Nokia's key expectations on ethical business practices. Conflict of interest. Conflicts of interest can take different forms and be actual, potential, or perceived conflicts. If you become aware of a conflict of interest that may impact your work for or with Nokia, or where Nokia interests may be impaired, take steps to responsibly address the matter and notify Nokia on a timely basis. Refrain from offering gifts and/or excessive hospitality to Nokia employees who may influence or be perceived to influence decision-making. Record keeping. We expect you to maintain all records in a timely manner, complete, and in reasonable detail in accordance with applicable accounting principles, laws, and regulations. On request, Nokia may ask you to provide all relevant documentation, including transaction details, invoices, and/or receipts regarding sales of any Nokia products or services. Confidential reporting. Nokia believes strongly in having an open reporting, speak-up culture, where employees are free to raise any and all concerns about potential violations of law or policy, and to do so without fear of retaliation. Always ensure that timely, objective, and thorough investigations are conducted, and that appropriate remediation is implemented. For any concern by any third party or employee of any third party, we require that Nokia be notified without delay so that we may review and, if necessary, investigate the matter. Environmental and social regulations. Now we will review our Code on Environmental and Social Regulations. Fair employment. We expect Nokia's third parties to practice fair treatment of others, not engage in or support discrimination, comply with applicable laws and regulations concerning wages and hours and conditions of employment. Employment should be considered a matter of free will. Forced labor, involuntary servitude, and child labor are prohibited. Environment. Nokia continuously seeks to prevent pollution and to reduce the environmental impacts of its products and services during design, procurement, manufacturing, use, and end of life. We expect you to uphold Nokia's commitment to protect the environment. You must comply with all applicable environmental laws and regulations, including keeping up-to-date registrations and permits. Health and safety. We expect you to ensure a safe and healthy working environment for all employees and take measures to prevent workplace fatalities, eliminate workplace injuries, and limit disease. Always provide appropriate personal protective equipment and training for employees. Human rights. Nokia is committed to respect and support the human rights principles and values as laid out in the International Bill of Human Rights, consisting of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and its related covenants, the International Labor Organization's Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work, and the United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. Nokia provides products and services that expand opportunities to communicate and contribute directly to the exercise of such fundamental rights as free expression, access to information, exchange of ideas, and right to privacy. We expect you to uphold Nokia's commitment to respecting human rights and conduct business in accordance with Nokia's principles and in compliance with all applicable global and local human rights laws. Reporting concerns to Nokia. Nokia is proud to have a speak-up culture where employees feel empowered and comfortable raising compliance questions and concerns without being fearful of retaliation. Our partners are expected to follow and demonstrate this approach as well. Contact a Nokia business representative or use one of the methods shown to report a concern when Any violation or attempted violation of law or of this third-party code of conduct is suspected as it relates to the contract or other cooperation with Nokia. Or when questions arise regarding this third-party code of conduct or Nokia's expectations. The Nokia Ethics Helpline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in more than 20 languages. Concerns reported will be kept confidential to the maximum extent allowable or unless required to be disclosed by law. Nokia will not retaliate against anyone who reports, provides information, or assists in the investigation process. Summary: we covered the values and principles that we in Nokia expect to be respected, implemented, and communicated with all of Nokia's third parties. It is vital that all Nokia third parties read the third-party code of conduct, understand it, and embody it in their actions. Thank you for your attention to this important information. Please reach out to your Nokia representative if you have any questions.